We're here today with Kyle Robinson, the Senior Project Manager at CPPI. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having us. So tell us a little bit about CPPI and what they do.
Well, CPPI, hopefully most people in the local arena know who we are, but we're a construction management firm, design build firm, general contractor. We've been doing construction in Florida area and now in Georgia area for a few years, but in Florida for over 45 years. I think we deliver a really quality product, and that's kind of how we made our name when our founder, Mr. Chuck Perry, founded the company way long ago. And we're still doing the same thing that he used to do. At least we like to think we are anyways.
Tell me about your role with CPPI and how you're involved in the North Florida Regional project that you just finished.
I'm a senior project manager. I primarily work in our healthcare division. When I actually started a decade ago, I actually started in the healthcare division. I've been predominantly doing renovations, building additions, and vertical expansions. Worked on some new towers and stuff inside healthcare, so hospital work. I've done a little bit of stuff in between there with some churches and some schools and some banks and stuff like that, a couple of parking garages. But my role as a senior project manager is I facilitate the project kind of from the top down. Depending on the type and the size of the project, based on what kind of team we actually put in place in order to make things run smoothly. This most recent project, obviously the tower, a $62 million project, 4-story tower, substantial size. So we had a pretty large team with superintendents in the field and myself, and I also had an assistant project manager under me. But my primary role is I manage the finances. I'm pretty much the liaison between the client and the design team, and then all the subcontractors in our team here at the office. So with that is managing change orders and RFIs and the schedule predominantly. Pretty tough schedule with a lot of moving parts out there. There were some interior renovations. There's a lot of places that we actually tied into the building. So that's pretty much the complexity of what I do.
Okay. Tell our audience about the process that you actually went through in building this new patient tower.
Pretty straightforward process. You know, with this client we've been working with for a long time. As long as I've been here, they were the first client I actually worked with. We typically get involved at the very beginning, which is during a schematic phase for them, where they have an idea for a project of some type of service or a building they want to add. Been lucky, North Florida Regional is actually the campus I started on a decade ago, and they've been building ever since. But during the schematic phase, they come to us with an idea, and we start putting pricing together with a couple of other general contractors that they team up with, typically in the Florida area. At that point, you know, we put our schematic price together, and if we're the low guys with, you know, a good idea and a gauge for the local subcontractors and involvement, you know, we get awarded from that point forward. So after that, we go through a couple more pricing exercises. They may come out with some 70% completion documents that we'll put another budget to, make sure we're staying within line, staying within budget. And then we actually get final 100% construction documents that we bid out. So at that point, that's where the actual, you know, where I get involved pretty heavily is in the pre-con. We do a document review, make sure that we look for gaps, you know, errors and omissions and stuff that might come up as problems later on in the project. And we really start developing who we think are going to be the best fit subcontractors, specifically trying to get local people involved with the project of this size to try and keep dollars local. And basically creating a team that we know is going to be able to deliver the project on time, within budget, safely, and really in the end, kind of our name and our reputation as a quality product that the client's going to be really happy with.
What were some of the challenges that you had to overcome in completing this particular project?
You know, we've done some really challenging projects at this campus. This is definitely the largest one that I've been involved with as a senior. I will say I don't think it was the most complex. We've done some vertical expansions out there that proved to be much more difficult as far as coordinating all the things that had to happen inside a live hospital. But with this one, there's a couple of real key things. There's obviously a lot of storm runoff around this campus, and they used to have some retention ponds in the front of the building. As a result of this building going right there, we actually had to locate rain tanks on the ground that would take the storm water. So that was the first thing we had to do, is get in there and do a lot of heavy site work and do some deep foundations, which we're used to out there. After that, I would say coordinating a job of this size and the economy that we've kind of been going through is, you know, like everybody else, they're trying to accomplish more with less people. So really being able to work with the subcontractors and make sure that people are adhering to the schedule, and still doing what they're supposed to do, being safe out there, make sure they're putting in quality work. There's 5 points of this tower that connect back to the existing hospital. So, there's some temporary drying and some staging and some coordination that has to be done to make sure that we get those catwalks and those bridges connected without allowing water to intrude their existing building and affect services. It just so happens that 3 of those bridges tie into their waiting room, their surgical tower. So those are pretty busy rooms within the hospital where people, usually visitors and people, are staying and sometimes sleeping in. So critical areas for them.
How do you see, you've been with CPPI for a decade or more, how do you see the state of commercial building today as compared to when you first got started or even just a few years ago?
Yeah, it's cyclical, like most things. When I first started, business was booming. I mean, it was to a point where people in our position had the luxury of actually turning work away. We felt like it was something that we didn't specialize in, or there was some inherent risk that we weren't familiar with, that we just didn't want to go after something. Obviously, things have changed since then. The last 3 years, the economy's been struggling. I think as our company kind of being a pretty big fish and with a really good name in this pond that we're in, we've done really well with some of the bigger clients, HCA being one of them, the University of Florida. But as a company as a whole, I think things slowed down for several years, but I can say right now, truly believe they're picking up. Just recently in the last few months, we've landed some really big projects for some exciting stuff that's actually happening right here in Gainesville, which is something new for the town and the community, which is pretty cool.
How do you anticipate the future growth of commercial building in Gainesville?
I actually think it's actually a really good question, which is cool. I've been a part of some different groups lately and kind of following the Chamber of Commerce and understanding what's going on locally on a political level, kind of understanding what Gainesville's trying to do to encourage growth. Because, being from Gainesville for 34 years, you kind of know there's some red tape and there's some stuff that kind of halts that process. And I think Gainesville's a great community and has a lot of potential to be something better. And that's not just self-serving interest just for us to keep a job and keep moving. It's just really what I'd like to see Gainesville. But there's some really cool things happening. There's Innovation Square is coming, which is going to bring a lot of new things, incubators for different types of technologies and companies to come in and work and come to the Gainesville area. There's some developments happening on 39th out by I-75 that are in the works. I think that's going to be huge. Something that's been out there for several years, which is really big, is the Plum Creek development. I don't know where that actually stands in the process, but these are all huge things that are really going to kind of bring a huge spike to, I think, Gainesville's economic growth and make huge opportunities for people like us and other contractors to hopefully keep going on and do what we do best.
How can business owners in the community, and I guess specifically with your role in commercial building, benefit from working with CPPI, and how can they get in touch with you guys?
Oh, well, we're around. Hopefully everyone knows who we are. You look us up in the phone book. I think one of the greatest things, and the testament to our company, our name, what we bring is the long-standing reputation. Really what a client gets when they come with us and allow us to build for them and bring a project into play is really a lifelong relationship. That's what we're about. Our company's mission is to create long-lasting structures and relationships, and that's really what it's about. We're here to facilitate and service, maintain buildings for a long time after, develop those relationships so people know that they can rely on us if they ever have questions down the road. We're not going anywhere. Our reputation is staked on being here and taking care of the people that are with us. So I think getting with someone that's local, has a really good understanding of the local involvement from the subcontractors and their potential, based on the different projects that we've constructed, from anything from small bathroom renovations to obviously large hospital towers. I think you gain some experience there by working with us that you might not get with some other contractors that just don't have that in their background.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today. It was nice talking to you, and we look forward to talking with you in the future.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.